Hello, awesome folks. I hope you're having just a majestic day today. Today we're taking a look at the next of a classic short movies. This time in the fantasy genre. I just recently did 3 eras of sci-fi movies for you folks. This is going to be the classic era up through 1980. Unlike science fiction, this is a rough era for fantasy films, because this is pretty much just kids' films or Harryhausen films, right? And that's pretty much it. There's only a handful of films that are either kids' films or Harryhausen films in this era. So that's pretty much all. Those two options are for you folks. So it's a very, very light area. Like, for example, in the sci-fi area, I didn't have the creature from the Black Lagoon in that one prior to 1980. Now, once we hit the 80s, early on, Conan the Barbarian will make a lot of money, put fantasy on the map in a major way, and then we'll have a lot more things to choose from. But here, not as much. All right, so let's get started. I got an honorable mention to kick things off, and that's Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Now, as a reminder, these are spoiler-free, so I'm not going to be doing a deep dive for you folks. So please don't spoil this, and so forth. This is good stuff. It's a very strong film. It put Disney on the map in a major way. It's one of the first giant animated color films that weren't shorts and so forth. It was gorgeous at the time, heavily influential on Disney. Put them in because they had done shorts and such, but this is definitely one of the first ones that put them on the map in a major way. Heavily influential, good stuff, and definitely still holds up, I think, to this day for you folks. That's our honorable mention of the day. All right, now we're going to get started with the top 10 proper. This is the number 10 is the adaptation of Jules Verne's Mysterious Island for you folks, which is also Harryhausen produced and got a lot of his special effects and so forth. This has more of a fantasy take because they added in all the stop motion portrayals and so forth. You might actually think this is probably more of a science fiction or just a regular thing, but they add some elements to the island that help really push it, I think, and push it more into the fantasy genre, if you will. Although if you want to interpret it as sci-fi, I won't lose any sleep. I mean, it should have been on the list. I'm not going to lose any sleep. It's a list. It's just my list. This is your list. This is fine. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. All right, now number 9. Let's head back to Disney in animated films with Fantasia for you folks. And this is a selection of animated films for you folks with a shout out to the Magician's Nephew. Great stuff. Heavily influential. Now, some of these actually are more like, they get dinosaurs and so forth. Some of the Fantasia ones aren't in that area, if you will. But it's good stuff. And heavily influential, and it doesn't have any words. It's definitely because it's just pictorial cartoons that are broken down into shorts, and I think that's actually a very novel way of approaching the genre, right? And so forth. I definitely think for that reason it stands just not true. Number 8 is a Sinbad movie. That's called The Golden Voyage of Sinbad for you folks. I love it lots. This is another Harryhausen influenced film that he's knocking out some of the special effects anymore. All of the Sinbad series by him have different effects and different characters doing different things, and they're all great stuff. It's a heavy stuff. I have watched the entire series just once on Blu-ray for you folks, but that's it. So that's number 8, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. Number 7 is the only one on here that's a comedy. I think this has to be on here because it's so influential and so forth. But I just don't think it's that great. I've only seen it once, and I thought it was a little overrated. And that's Monty Python's Holy Grail. If you think it's higher, if you think it's number 1, it's fine. I know a lot of people really, really love this. Sort of a funny comedic take on the King Arthur legends, if you will. And so forth, and they will quote it all up and down and make that choo-choo sound. But it feels a little over the top, and I think it was of its time. I've only seen it once. I've never wanted to go back and see it a second time for you folks. But I can get it, and I do appreciate it for what it is, but not what it's been made out to be, right? I had the same thing when I saw the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which everybody talked about always being this great thing, but on DVD, figured I like it lots, and it was like, wait, is this what everybody likes? I just didn't get it. I don't get it that too, but I did appreciate it for what it's trying to be, rather than what people are telling you it's supposed to be. So that's number 7, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And number 6, the last one before our top 5 proper, is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, also from the 70s too. It's also a classic, same thing. The novel that's putting on the film is absolutely a strong take on it, and so forth. I read the novel as a kid, just as a heads up. So it's fun stuff, and it's good stuff. I like it lots. I liked Gene Wilder's interpretation of Willy Wonka, and this is definitely stood the test of time. This is more of a horror and sadistic take, if you will. He definitely, rather than just a fun little kid-friendly version, and I like that. I think it stands up a lot. So as a result, great stuff. That's number 6, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And now number 5 through 1. Number 5 is another Sinbad film. It's the 7th voyage of Sinbad for your folks. Again, Harryhausen film. Great stuff. Has lots of great creature effects in it. Lots of great stop motion in it. Great stuff too. And if you haven't seen it, I think you should check it out. That's the Golden Voyage of Sinbad, number 5 for you folks. I hope you enjoy that too. And now number 4 is a classic heavy hits. It's actually a musical fantasy genre. It's Mary Poppins, done by Disney. It's a real life version of it. I think this is an absolutely classic because it made so much money. It was a musical and it's won a lot of awards too. When it came time for Oscars, a lot of films in the 60s and 70s would try to do a musical version of this, but nobody can really stand up to this one. It's a classic of classics, Mary Poppins. And now number 3 through 1. All of these are obvious. Number 3, you might think is number 1, but it's not. It's the Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz puts together the short stories, the novel rather, of the Wizard of Oz by Baum, which I've read and reviewed for this channel recently. It's the first time I read it for you folks. It's attention to put it in real life. It's gorgeous. It's well done. Stands the test of time. It was the Harry Potter of its time, and when I was watching the original, the first Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and I was like, this must have been what it would have felt like to have seen, the Wizard of Oz in theaters, right? It's just for the first time, say, whoa, this is so great. It's got such great world building, such a great story, such great stuff. It's very, very kid friendly, right? Family friendly and so forth, and good stuff. And that's the Wizard of Oz, heavily influential. Everybody wants to remake the Wizard of Oz, right? From Wicked, that's coming out here in a little bit, and so forth. Everybody wants to make and remake this and so forth. And this is a heavy classic for that reason. Now we got 2 films left. Number 2 is King Kong, and when you see that it's number 2 over Wizard of Oz, you're probably okay with that. It's fine. Because King Kong has the Lost World element of dinosaurs and giant creatures and so forth on the island of Skull Island, I do think that this is a fantasy film, not a sci-fi film. If you think it's a sci-fi film, instead, I'm not going to listen to you, just put on your sci-fi film up there with Godzilla that did hit on my sci-fi films. This is a heavy classic, heavily influential. They actually created the special effects Oscar in order to award this film because of how great its special effects were. Absolute classic 10 out of 10. No denial that if you consider it a fantasy film, it should be up here in the top 3 at number 2. On number 1, you might disagree with, but it's fine. You probably just haven't seen it yet. It's another Harryhausen film, and this is Jason and the Argonauts for you folks. It's a great retelling of the Jason and the Argonauts, of the Argo journey. I have read the Argonautica, which tells this story, and actually reviewed it for this channel. So you guys have an opportunity to go out there and review it. It's great stuff, heavily done. Well, I think they do a really, really strong job of putting this into play for you folks. So that's number 1. So here are my top 10 and honorable mention again. Honorable mention is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the first major animated film from Disney. They early put them on a map. That wasn't a short film like Stupid Early, but a full animated film that put them on a map in a major way. Number 10, Mysterious Island, the Jules Verne adaptation. Number 9, Fantasia, also by Disney. Number 8 is The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. Number 7 is Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Number 6 is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Number 5 is The 7th Voyage of Sinbad. Number 4, Mary Poppins. Number 3 is The Wizard of Oz. Number 2 is King Kong. And number 1 is Jason and the Argonauts for you folks. And so there you are. I hope you enjoyed this. Have you seen these films? So what'd you think? What was your list? Let me know in the comments below. Again, this is just my list. I'm not an expert. I'm not a film critic. I'm just a fantasy. And so forth, right? So I don't have, any aims to game. I'm not an expert. I can't talk about these films in any major ways. Just spoiler free. Let me know what your top 10, and if you want an honorable mention or two, it's fine too. Just let me know about what your thoughts were in the comments below. Next week, I'm going to give you my next 10 films from the next decade, which is full of stuff for you folks. And so there you are. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. If you like this video, why not hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon if you're feeling frisky, and then let your friends know too. And then if you enjoyed this, why not hit the subscribe? As a reminder, this channel's name is The Worst Thing About New Books. That's a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, in his 19th century work that said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old ones, in this case, older films like this that we might have forgotten about or have really started, but we might have been heard about, but just haven't gone out and seen, right? I think that's a key part of this, of these all older things for you folks. And then I just want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing in watching my video, right? Because we all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So once again, thanks, and have a great day.